What's up, guys? I'm still trying to just get over the dogs, but let's just go on talking seriously and minding our business, trying to find a new business out of all these astrological, necromonic, demonic, and astral spheric words that, gets everybody so scared and and barking at each other. I'm just like so over this environment trying to have a reflection of it suit me, and I'm just like, no, it suits you all the time. And so, yes, the dogs are barking, and it is a testimony to the fact that we have things to say. We need to turn dog and God and just the fact that we've been made bitches. We need to turn all this pop behavior, right, into purpose. So, part of Keykeeper channel is live integration, real-time thinking integration, using screenshots, using stream of consciousness, using everything that I can to put out of us through the rays of my mind, and hopefully use my open throat gene key 12 to carve out a space that doesn't prick, because I don't want to be a prick, I don't want to be a dick. And just thinking about some of the things that I said about Mariah Carey, I feel like ashamed of myself. So I just want to just make what needs to be made right. I'm not bowing to the queen or um pandering or anything, because I don't have to lie about anything that Mariah Carey has meant to me and will continue to mean for me and has meant for so many other people. Comment down below what's your favorite Mariah Carey song. How does her voice make you feel? What is your just favorite? Um, because I love the details. So yeah, I love Mariah Carey, and I'm just parasocially not ashamed of that. Um, Even if I have my own, way of looking at the world, and I can find community in certain perspectives, I have to also find solace in the fact that I'm trying to build my own perspective and finding the economic strength. My second name is Ethan. And if you know what the connotations of Africa is, and you know, as a Gemini, I just don't want to be cold and jaded at the end of the day and just make fun of everything and not take anything seriously. That's another part of what my astrologer told me about my Pisces in the fourth house. It was like, um, because you just can imagine what everybody has to go through to live their life, right? I watched a amazing video about um just the notion of like, can you support Beyonce? Can you be like a Christian and a supporter of Beyonce? Like, are you just anti-black? Like, I watched various videos and it's all kind of blurring in my mind all the time because, as I said before, like, I have synesthesia, and I do believe that's a real thing, even if, like, I don't know if it's just fanciful, and my magical thinking Punarvasu, and it can just have something more astrologically ascribing to something that I might call co-opted. Because I have that type of back to Mariah Carey, guys. And I also think I have ADHD, and I thought I had bipolar at once, and I thought I was either Asperger's or antisocial or borderline, and I definitely suffered from narcissistic abuse syndrome, and I was a Leo in the ninth house, Sag Deacon, Saturn in the fifth house person with a Leo midheaven, with Lilith in Leo, and Virgo energy attenuating for that Leo, and I have Mars there. I have my human design Mars in Leo retrograde, and my North Node there. It's just, there's a lot of like me needing to figure out like just why out of the Ketu, the Aries exalted the Sun in the Gemini Navamsha Pada, and how it relates to the eye, the summer solstice, the whole pyramid scheme of everything that is the 0 point Uttara Ashada situation of my ascendant, from which I'm ramming forth, creating all the shots taken in this space, trying to assimilate the information. Jupiter in Aquarius in the third. I have Uranus at 8 degrees at the literal cusp of my third house in the tropical signs. So I always think of how Uranus exalts in Scorpio, and how I have a Scorpio degree flavored Uranus, and it does it does give me clues as to just, and even like how it's in my second house also, with like the notion of a bull's eye, and what we saw of Mars in the cipher by Formscapes relating to the second house, what we learned about the birth of Mrigashira and Rohini and Soma, and just the fact that Mrigashira also has serpents as a totem animal, and there's very much cosmic egg relationships of that too. Adra, Rudra, Rohini, Prajapati, Rahu, Ketu. So just when I look at cipher, right, the 11th house and the balance point contains the Uranus and the EFG and the Taurus to Gemini, and it goes towards form in the summer solstice, right? Out of the Venus 12th house, A, B, C, D, the 9 coming into the Earth through Phi, manifesting, God form through, we have the H, so that makes me think God Most High, and it relates everything that we said about the churning of the cosmic ocean and form and Aphrodite, and how after the descending process and that cut and the moon star and all of these fallen uh 33 tail end of the 88 key Ptolemy situation of just the QRST, and you ending up asking you know, Z0. Why, in Afrikaans we say ek for me. Why X W? Why am I a double of you, right? But why is there also this divide, this V, and there's a single you and there's a single me? You know, that's the T, the cross that puts the separation in between that which consecrates the Christ that I know to be my I am, right? The literal pre-genesis pineal of my where I came from through my dad's PP and my mom's V and whatever that is supposed to be. Oh no. You know, I'm reading this cipher through the letters right now. But back to me, the narcissist Leo in the 8th house needing to transform the L and the me. The me's, the tablets of destinies. Meh. Am I gonna feel meh about my life? No, I'm gonna produce what the Christ can see, you know. There's all these things that you just go back and forth. Like even like I see my chromosomes, I see X and Y, I see, you know, and so yeah, when I see, for example, letters of my name in as an alphabet to planets where I have placements, my Y is my Pluto. So look at that, like even what I said about my Plutonian meets Saturnian process, like I didn't even know that, but looking at it like this now, I mean, but like I was still kind of like speaking truth to this, which means this was speaking a truth. It was created from truth. You know, that's kind of like where I feel like intuition and science and the Virgo and the Pisces will meet each other as confirmation to be like, nah, it's like your deja vu, your feet has been there, boo. You know what I mean? It like traces the tracks back to like unpacking memories of uranium frozen Scorpio thoughts. So keep on keep on barking. Like, yeah, even the fact that Neptune exalts in relation to like the 9th aspect of the cipher, just like seeing it from one cipher's perspective of the sun being first. But we can turn it around anyway, right? But yeah, just looking at it the way you guys are perceiving it, reading it naturally now. There's me now needing to create a schism of separation in relation to like speaking to the part of me that would have done it whatever other way I would have done it, you know, and that's just like my L castration out of form and the whole, you know, it's like whenever you think of something you want to draw and you can never draw it. I was that kid who just like, I wouldn't want to use an eraser. I would just like crumble up the page and like toss it to the bin. And if I made the first line wrong, that happened. If I made it 4 lines in wrong, according to me, it happened. If I just felt like at the end of it, like I didn't like it, that happened. So it's very interesting for me, but to bring it back to Mariah Carey, the M, all of that Leo energy, all of that Diva energy, everything that we have been trying to just integrate with what New Age philosophy teaches, what part of it should be consumed, what part of it should not be consumed. Gene Key 12, discrimination, vanity, let everybody have their own world, build your world, lessons of integration, individuation, separation, growing up, blooming to your echoes, right? Polishing yourself in the reflection of your own mirror, all of these things. So that's why this channel is what it is. It is me unpacking and I hope that at the end of the day, something good can come out of it, because it's very, like, I want to go into the Mariah Carey part, right? But at the same time, I'm very hesitant because let me just kind of pull up her chart and step away from the cipher for a bit. But it is. Do I still have it though? Because I deleted so many things. Let me check my. Because why I just felt like I don't want to contradict myself. I don't want to. Okay, guys, I don't have that chart right now, but regardless, I did study it to have the few key points that I want to make, and so I'm getting tired. Just the fact that the dogs are constantly barking, it's kind of tapping my battery, because I love the serenity, and when my voice fills the space, it's a charging process, and when the environment drowns out my voice, it's a Kekturian thinking, syncretizing, unconscious, revealing process, because like I don't want to like my family called me Dr. Dolittle earlier, because like I talk to the dogs just because I don't want to have a separation from them. So I don't talk to them like they don't understand what I'm saying, and like I don't like yelling at my dogs. I don't, because people are sometimes very fearful of pit bulls. For example, when the guy has to come read the water meter or something, I always have to now chain him on the stoop, or not that I chain him, but like, it's like they have this expectation, like, he should be in a chain, and I'm just like, he's my dog, I love him, and it's not just so black and white as you make it out, sir. I'm sorry, but I'm serious. That's my dog, and I will go to God for him. You know what I mean? Because he's literally like, he will, if he hears anything, he will check the perimeter, he will protect me as long as I'm sitting out here. Um, and we have just a very deep bond, and I know Mariah Carey also loves her dog, she also loves Jack Russells. And so we have a small Jack Russell also, is very rambunctious. And yeah, so I mean, I feel for them being anxious also with what's going on in the neighborhood, and also like I feel annoyed at myself for being like this stern dad person who triggers myself, who's telling them like, be quiet, I'm trying to make a video. And like meanwhile I just paused, and you guys maybe didn't hear me having to go get them out of some situation that they are just like uh creating a lot of havoc, maybe running in the garden because they see a dog in the street showing off his big dick status, his big dick energy, like, yeah, it's mating season and I got all the bitches, like I'm the top dog. Uh, and that dog is called Blondie, right? And my dog is called Bullet, so he just shoots off with all the masculine toxicity that has been planted in his Garden of Eden. Oh my gosh. And then my grandmother, the crone, the Parkachish, the person of it all, who has to be like, my roots. So yeah. Anyway, bringing it back to the root of this conversation, and wanting to say what I've learned about Mariah Carey, or what the Mariah Carey myth means to me as a fan, but not as maybe a conventional fan who also kind of like brings a element of conspiracy theory consumption. I mean, probably most fans parasocially uh, get into consuming any notion of a conspiracy surrounding their fave. So I was no different, but I had so many faves with my Revati Keto. I was like sucking it all in like a vacuous black hole. And I was just one too many yonis, guys. Anyway, so yeah, thinking of all the Moonstar little versions of myself, I birthed the Fey Monster, going gaga in the name of pop culture. I gagged for Mariah Carey. I'm still not over the fact that I feel like I've disgraced her. And at the same time, I'm like, did you though? Like, maybe she's wanting somebody to like love her for her truth. Because, girl, I love you for your truth. And whatever, like the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and the suspicion of the truth by a Mr. E transvestigation energy gave me of a truth through the ring of a castrato and your voice, and whatever is castrating your range right now, with it's not being able to take the estrogens, anymore, or whatever it was that kept your vocal cords as thin and nimble and everything that it did within the lung capacity and thoric capacity of a man, with all that seminal sexual fluid built into that. Um, because we know there are ways that you can, uh, technically be castrated from, in terms of like produce, like you can be medically castrated, right? From like produce, like you can have blockers. Um, and who knows how long they've known this stuff, right? Like they've known certain things since like World War II and the experiments that they've been doing there in a 1984 world of what that means. Disclaimer, guys. So let me just back up, because I'm like, I read so many things and I was just, I was that kid who had synesthesia and Uranus wanting to get into his third house. Jupiter, expansive mind, Aquarius, process, but with a sidereal, let's build a structure from the ground up, Capricorn, process as well. All of it kind of like fueling into like this mega shit researching star process. And whenever stars fall, like the human glee for seeing a universal or universality to that, everybody consumes the part of the sacrifice, like Milena, that it's like the part that they wanted to see that they eat. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, did I suck Mariah Carey's voice through a succubus energy within myself, trying to imitate her, trying to sing her songs? You know what I mean? Channeling her with my Daimon, Ketu, Revati abilities that I was at that point unconscious of. But I mean, like, notwithstanding my hanging throat gate, right? Like, true story, guys, I actually tried to give myself nodules. That's how badly I wanted to sing like Mariah Carey. So, as Simon Cowell said, hero has ruined more throats than the smoker's cough. Well, I smoke as well. So that's where I just kind of like, I I wouldn't say I lost my range, but I definitely had a lowering of my voice. And it's not like I had an upper range, like certain things were always a strain. I didn't have whistle notes, but I had like falsetto notes and stuff like that. But I was not trained, so like sometimes I would just kind of like push my voice, things would come out, I could do certain things, other times my voice would blow out and I would like not. That's why I also had stage fright, and I also like I didn't feel consistent about like my ability as a singer, right? But the last, let's just say like, I almost want to say 6 months, I actually feel like I've just kind of learned to listen to my body when I sing. Even if I have a damaged instrument right now, I still love to sing so much. And that's why oftentimes my voice sounds a little more tired, or I speak always like I'm just trying to, sometimes I even ask myself like, are you so obsessed with Mariah Carey that you even like try to like channel her voice. Not that I feel like I sound like her, right? Um, but uh, I'm getting nervous now because I'm thinking of things to do and like just prove what I mean again and getting very. So there's this like um interview that she does, and she's like, I was doing some showcases with just piano and background singers, and I needed an extra song, so I added Don't Play That Song For Me by Aretha Franklin, and it's like I do it in concert, and I say to the people, this is originally recorded by the incomparable Aretha Franklin, and I just say it so they know. I don't even think I'm coming close to the way Aretha sang this, but this is my tribute to her, so. And then she got this thing, don't play that song for me. I totally butchered that. But that's my point. Um, I used to like get a thrill out of like imitating her voice, or just like that sultriness, or like I just felt she had the most siren-esque, I could listen to her voice all day kind of voice. And I think like when I soften my linguistic accentual edges, um, there are certain overlays of just what I've absorbed that I can hear is the like just certain ways I fall into a vocal fry or get breathy or whatever, but a lot of that is just basically because I've been like sick. I've had the flu for like the last 2 weeks, like ever since I started my channel, basically. I feel after that I've just kind of like had a breakthrough, but I also like put my body through a lot because I sit outside in the cold and I just go to bed late at night, and so I don't know what I'm very contradicting myself. Like I'm not like the person who should be your health guru right now, but yeah, at the same time I'm just like daring spirit to leave my body because I've just felt so recaptured in my will to live and in my purpose to live. Not because I got a natal chart synthesis, not because I didn't have several moments of synchronicity, deja vu, Promethean bolts, downloads. Is it the Holy Spirit? Is it the unholy ghost? Is it an alien? Like, did you guys see my like little videos like on, I don't know if it's a drone or an alien shit. Oh my gosh. My 12th house moon, guys. Um, you know, sometimes I believe when people tell me ghost stories and stuff, like I can see what they remember in their mind, what they saw. Um, and it's just very interesting the way my magical thinking coalesced with like my grandmother being a very spiritual person, us living at number 12, my street name being De Vries, which means the freeze. So all of this in my gap of Gat and my frost giant and fire giant of self, and the psychosexual alchemy of my maiden crone through my inner daughter cell of my mother and my matriarchal crone. Um, because I do have feminine energy, am not claiming it as an offense to the birthing women, feminine, divine feminine, true feminine goddess, and whatever we should call it that isn't a co-opted word. Beyond that, I love women. I love men. I think men should be men. I think women should be women. But what women dress like to say that is women, and what men dress like to say that is man. I don't understand why we fight about that. When a dress can be so comfortable, and a pants, for whatever functional purpose or expression or fashion or artistic vulcanizing of personality, chitra katat of your auric field, that arrangement and adornment of yourself should signify. So when we say in Kabbalah everything comes to the earth, to the Muladhara chakra, to the um it just makes me think of like on the day again, you just ain't got no koof. I don't know what koof means, like koof, what is that? Is it like manners, proper manners, uncouth, like not being uh, like not like I know that in the context they like lets one rip, right? So it's like, do you not have the ability to hold it in, to be refined? Um and yeah, it's very Ketu into the earth of Sagittarius, the earth star of it all, the Jupiter prince of heaven and earth, and the pillar of principalities that gives you the rainbow and the seven colors in between through the archontic expressions of the Saturnian monad. So yeah, guys, me babushka darling back to Mariah Carey, and like the reason why I mentioned the transvestigation as it relates to a Baphomet transgender agenda, and I don't want to be dragging queens and be reading them for what their lyrics said to the children about being heroes and believing in themselves, right? Because I needed those songs, I needed those big ballads that made my soul soar. But at the same time, I took my baths with it, so was I inviting in the chimeric mermaid spirit, the siren of it all? Was I prophetically spelling things into my experience, singing, bobbing my head, opening these portals to my crown, and having Mariah now sitting in my crown as like such a interjectal part of myself, like I've merged with her or something like that, like we have a soul tie. Like we all ride or die. Like, is Mariah Carey the voice to the aerial Little Mermaid cutout that I swam with in the bath as a child? And, I got that out of a huisgenoot, um, which is like a home partner, which is like, Mariah Carey is like a home partner to me because literally she accompanies me musically, she accompanies me as motivational lyric, she accompanies me to the bath, and she's a voice for me when I feel like I've lost my voice, or like when someone silenced me. It's like I can play a Mariah Carey song as a reference to say what I mean. I have a whole language, like people have Klingon, like I have a whole language through Mariah Carey. So like, yeah, that's just another space my Sagittarius energy kind of like Mars in Virgo through to bring to my life's work with the Saturn in the fifth Aries. Mariah Carey having Aries energy as per her 1970 chart. Um, I think she also has Saturn in Aries in that chart. So there was a lot of things that I could relate to Mariah Carey and just her. If you believe in yourself enough and know what you want, you're gonna make it happen. Because I had that programming, right? Like I said, my aunt took me to mind power. I had the priming of a dysfunctional family making me borderline and attachment disordered and just ready to latch onto anything that could give me structure and stability. And when I got the rich dad, poor dad from that aunt, you know, it's like the world split for me into like, okay, these are the people who have units on their box for power, and these are the people who don't. Very chinky 14 of my moon power skills, the wagon, the car of Ra, the Rohini, the cart, the everything that integrates around the way I was building this inner eye, this wisdom, this moon star to my Urania through the Anuradha of that Leo to Scorpio stare-off process that can either go Medusa or generate Ra, and the Poseidon seafoam horse donkey golden touch of that psychosexual big dick energy magic of your IC hitting the bullseye of the Rohini juicy. Guys, like, ugh, I really think I should maybe get a Patreon when this channel grows more, when, I can have just more, like as a emotional projector and reflector, I need to have the right invitations. I can't just like, if you watch my natal chart synthesis video, like I can't just go blaring up my ego in the seventh house for everybody to see. Like I will get Chiron in the 11th house, and it will just Saturn in my heart. So yeah, me cutting form out of formlessness with Saturn in the fifth and having this relationship to formscape cipher from a personal point of view, and my natal chart synthesis process and all of these cross-cultural Sag, globalism, new ageism processing of my Aquarius third house Uranus and that 8th degree in the Scorpio depths of my 12th house with the Pluto there. And what is the Pluto in Sag generation meant to be? These rainbow Kislevs, kiss right, Ophiuchus. The idolatry of the K Taurus symbol and the K of my name, Kaylin. You know what I spoke about, just my games that I had, God of War, like the fights in my family that kind of like bribed my values this way or that way because I wanted to have security, right? I wanted to make the best out of it. I learned the masks, I learned the roles, I learned to manipulate, I learned to play the games, I learned to be Aphrodite, right? And it was very seductive once. Remember when on Charlie's Angels, that's what Demi's character says. Like I was everybody's angel, right? And secretly I was just this devil witness of them, like as a scribe, right? As a Lucifer light bearer, as a is, I told you so is, like type of mirror when it came type of thing also because it's like when you back me into the corner, the Scorpio just like, it did that. So when I figured out, oh, I can't tell the truth, you know how God tells Scorpio, I will permit you to see everything, my child, but you can't tell the truth at it, Gemini, the eighth house probably, but you will see everything and you will see the sorrows and suffering, but like I the secrets and the depths and the hidden motives and agendas. It's just like you can't hide from us, guys. Like, that's probably why most people search stuff on Scorpios and why it's so popular because even like me, I'm a mystery unto myself. Like, as a Scorpio moon, Atmakaraka, Scorpio rising, and just like the fact that my just depending on like what my mom said, what my dad said, my rising time could just be like a Purva, Shada, Scorpio, Navamshapada. And when I didn't know my birth time, I just went by my moon Atmakaraka. But when I used the corrections of just what my name meant and how putting the Chiron in the 11th house position, and that is tropically my Libra Chiron, right? How that gave me the balance point of the sun in the 7th house opposite to, you know, what would be the first bit of Uttara Shada. And this, all the themes that I spoke about Liru, deacons, sun into earth, all of these things. And seeing how out of formlessness Saturn in the 5th, and that relating to what we discussed about Septepe and dream time. So it's very, very interesting, guys. For my Scorpio rising, my Saturn is in the 5th in Pisces for a sidereal chart also. The Saturn is in a trine sign to my Pluto and in a quincunx sign to my moon in tropical signs. Saturn is opposite Libra. In mastering the zodiac, my moon is in Libra. So it just gives me a perspective shift onto like just like what my veneer was, what I was trying to be, what my design was saying, what my personality could pull off, what I couldn't pull off because of either consistently not having energies for it, because I wasn't charged by the right people around me. Like in school I could work in certain groups, or like if I could choose my own group, somehow I knew who would be able to charge me. I guess that's just my Pisces design and stuff like that. But when teachers chose groups and stuff for me, like somebody either always got on my nerves or didn't do the work or expected me to do the work, or and because I now was a emotional projector reflector type. I could see all the roles and parts that needed to be played to accompany the group. So I would be able to like write this person's part of the like forum discussion or the film review or whatever it was, or like, and even like put myself into like, oh, and they would use this word, and oh my god, like why did I did myself in like that? But it's because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to look bad. And that's also where, even very young, I realized I was internalizing the narcissism of appearances, the punarvasu of my appearance and feeling like I'm not as pretty, I'm not a pretty boy, guys. Like, that's just like the bane of my existence. Like, I feel like God gave me everything else except looks, he gave. It's like on Matilda. Some girls have looks. Some girls have books. I'm the book girl. Oh my god, guys. Um, anyway, the I'm just really like in a good mood, and yeah, I basically like I don't even know what I want to say about Mariah Carey except that, you know, in my heart space I've put her into a part of the Venus in Cancering Mula Navamshapada pattern of Punarvasuing, and it's like her definition is always renewing within me, right? And if even if I'm uh telling you guys, okay, this is what Mariah Carey meant to me when I was growing up, you know. Um, and unfortunately, it was tainted in this way or that way, and like a whole other beast of Babylon came out of the Aditi twin split of it. That's just part of my astrology expressing itself, and I can't even help it, you know. According to the powers that be, like I'm trying to help it, you know, but like if I'm gonna help it, I'm just gonna be silent and not express any light, any neutrino, any sphere that I yoke, you know, like, so I just feel like we shouldn't be disempowered by information. Um, if anything, we see that hatred and anger and lower emotions are very powerful. People make a lot of money channeling it. But can you channel it to break up the tamasic through the rajasic towards the sattvic, right? That is just like part of my Brahma yoga and my, like, I've read different, like I've literally went through my birth time of like just I gave myself a whole range of like, because I don't trust my parents. So obviously I just Virgoed through all of the possibilities. I went from noon, I went from, you know, I went from the time that they told me obviously that, okay, my grandfather worked night shift and therefore he would have like had to clock into work like at about 6. Like we know the past patterns of that, so he would have left home like at 4:30. Um, so if he had to return, or you know, they are like fuzzy on the details. But anyway, my mom's water broke. They took her. Um, my dad wasn't there apparently. My mom told me he was getting arrested, and then he was needing to be literally using my birth as an excuse to get released earlier. Something to that effect. I don't know, like there's a lot of gaslighting and they never have the same story, and it's like they will remember something in this weird compassionate mood of like drinking together. You know, when they drink together, it's not like my mom drinks really, but my dad loves to drink. But sometimes she will indulge him in like all the VH1 golden oldies and things like that would be playing, and they would just be this couple to watch with like their dance moves. You know, like South African couples, they just like randomly want to not jazz to a jazz song or lang arm or socky or like whatever it is, like they just want to do everything. Like my dad want to like pull a little Michael Jackson out, or sometimes my dad want to be Slim Shady. Guys, it's crazy. Anyway, so my both of my parents are Gemini risings, right? So imagine that. So I'm constantly as an open enemy to them with my like having Sag in the seventh house with my Pluto there. Pluto being the only planet I have in Sag, right? And obviously like my ascendant. But yeah, my Scorpio moon being in the sixth house to that, it's very like it's like I'm purifying them because like my mom and my dad have like synastry regarding galactic center clusters of planets, right? I've already explained where my moon sits on a stellarium app very close to my mom's Neptune, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Jupiter. So there's just a lot of like me seeing my mom's through nature in a very lunar and Plutonian way. And what I mentioned about Jupiter and the significance of a husband, you know, me seeing her Jupiter in Scorpio, literally like going in the root of the Antares redness of it all. Like I see red when I think about everything my mom went through in the name of love, being a Europa to this bull-headed beast. But anyway, a different celestial bull came through in terms of just the idol that I also saw in my dad. Because there were parts of myself in him, right? And I chose to come through his uh, car. My dad's name is Kenneth. And it's just so funny how he's such a know-it-all and I'm such a know-it-all as well. And we literally like would be so like I would bring my Saturn in Aries to his sun, and I would bring my Pisces onto his like Mercury, you know, like however like I'm playing around with my synesthesia now of our different synastries, tropically, sidereally, and whatever. My dad has an Aries Mercury Sun conjunction. I have a Gemini Mercury Sun conjunction. So we are both very verbally expressive, right? But like when my dad wants to do the Aries type of communication, I want to do the Venusian Gemini, little bit Mars, little bit Serpentine, little bit Ardra, Mercury, little bit Punarvasu, Jupiter, Sun. You know, like I want to do that type of thing. And so I'd be ice skating around him, and he would just not like, it's like he can't pin me down to like burn me, because I will just like Punarvasu out of that definition with some Jupiterian engrossment of myself, because I just go more into my Saturn, Aries, and I'm just like, that is not me. I have this picture of myself and that is not it. But yeah, it was very, you know, it's not like it wasn't tempering, because at the very least, you know, I learned I couldn't really lie to my dad either, and that my only true integrity in a fight would come if I had my facts and if I had my convictions, like the Libra opposite to that, if I have that moon all coagulated in a nourishing stream. And I learned a lot from my sister because she was, a Revati Venus, and she could like just give that. And I used to actually just feel very envious towards my sister because she could build a relationship with him and I felt I couldn't. And to this day, I feel like I will go to God with an excuse to be like, but he didn't make it any easier, God. You know what I mean? Because we are just like so similar and yet so different. And I am just needing to figure out like what it all is gonna mean for me, as at the end of the day, I don't want there to be any love lost, soul lost, karma lost, lessons lost, truth lost, being lost. A lot of these things came up ever since, just like the fact that I think my dad watches my videos. I don't know, but there's just something that happened between him and my sister that kind of like gave me a little clue as to that. But like a part of me, like, I don't care because I'm not doing it for him and it's not about him. It's about me sharing with you guys, anybody out there who can find any positivity, any negativity, and any neutral out of anything that I say, and learn to calibrate and triangulate and bring the red shift, blue shift, purple, green within your earth and the rainbow bridge of your Gemini to self, and not be divided in dissonance and angel and devil and mom and dad and mommy issues and daddy issues, and uh, is it trauma, is it magical thinking, is it um romantic, or is it like a devilish rapture? Is it the Holy Spirit, or is it just an insidious ghost? I have to think about all of these things as it relates to what the narratives are that are coming out, what the movies are saying, what just my local environment is saying, what people around me believe, what is reinforced. Just the fact that I grew up in a kind of spiritual family, a very Piscean energied family. Um, and a lot of Scorpio energy as well, and Cancer energy, just a lot of water energy in my family. Um, and me having placements to kind of go the opposite way, like with air and earth. Um, like air and fire rather. Like going towards the masculine, even like my sexuality struggle, and as a projector and a reflector, having sexuality projected onto me and just being able to like, oh, I can love everybody, or I can like see everybody's kink as like why they get off on it. Because I wanted to just have all this embrace, all this Neptune in Capricorn, for all the Uranus shards of life. And in Slick Dissident's work, Uranus is also the Fool going on the tarot card journey. So yeah, the house of cards I built for myself. And now, can I keep a poker face with just my split of what mentally, chimerically, sapiosexually lives for my imaginational breeding wife purposes as an anima? And what can I really like act out in the world, and what will be amoral, what would be held against me because they will tell me I'm some sort of deviant. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Um, and we have to wonder where everybody's desires come from, and who intentionally plants the seeds for them to grow. Because we know how we can cultivate children through directing their second house Mars, yes and no, no, terrible two stage through a tempering of desires with withholding and affirming and all of that. So the Saturn principle of the fifth house that we learned about through archetypography, it's opening up a whole lot, and just in terms of my creative self-expression, the people that I held as representations of what I felt I should be capable of or would love to be capable of, or would be representative of my Leo ninth house based light drawn to the fifth house Aries Saturn Medusa gaze of myself, petrified in the atlas of that mountain of what actually needs to be done as work to uphold that image as a gene key 1. To be number 1. In that very Anuradha Urania way, connecting the one mother as the all mother. And whether you call it Aditi or Babylon, right? Or Tiamat or Aphrodite or Mary Magdalene or Asherah or Sophia or Melusine or a Ra, Ariel, L, Ari, Ori, Orisha. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm like amused by myself or whether it's like me trying to speak mermaid, and even the idea of like, there's a woman who is often cited as having a more extensive range than Mariah Carey, right? Her name being Georgia Brown. And it's okay, boy, walk down the street. And she has a song called Mermaid, anyway. So I'm just trying to legitimize that there actually was a connection from like unique and this and the negative of a transsexual. Or what did the cipher say? Let me just, before I say words like that, I'm just going, words and codes and cryptids and ciphers and symbols and mandalas and all these little grimoires and astrological necronomicons and concordances and correspondences and syncretisms and yokes and people who said they were teachers, coming into this space of figuring out what I want to say. And I have a lot of Neptune at the tail of Sag horseshit to work through before I can call myself I've mastered the zodiac. So boy, you're freaking me out. Like, I didn't see anybody and you barked like somebody was standing right here. Um, anyway, guys, okay, good boy. Go back to the little nook there. Okay. So, sorry about that, guys. Where was I? La 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 la. Ooh, the load shedding is over. The Wi-Fi is back. So I will be able to finish this and post it now. I had to do laundry today. We have a funeral tomorrow. There was just a lot to do, so I kind of fell off my daily post today, so I still wanted to get it in. And it's like now 2:15, so I'm gonna just probably still spend up a little bit of time and edit something to this recording, but yeah, I need to go get those birth charts downloaded again, and all I kind of wanted to say to wrap everything up, funny that it's like silent now and I'm so tired, and now I'm like, do I do everything over now with better audio? But part of this process is also going to be to appreciate uncut versions of self, because the true carrot of it all. I'm just thinking very Lepus like, but the rabbit hole has been exposed, and Mariah Carey, I don't want to dishonor your legacy with bringing up a transvestigation channel that I don't know if it was shut down or cancelled um or whatever. I'm actually gonna look now. Let me see. But various celebrities were mentioned on there, and Yeah, I see on Pink News a short. TikTok trans investigator slammed for outing Hailey Bieber's and let's see if we can watch it.
Celebrities that you didn't know were actually the opposite gender. A transphobic influencer has tried to out Zendaya as transgender, calling her Mandaya in a viral video. And Selena's been accused of engaging with an account which claims that Hailey's also transgender. Stay here to hear the rundown. This trans investigator claims Zendaya's can-opener jaw and thick neck is proof that Zendaya was born male. She not only violates the privacy and dignity of the 26-year-old, but also perpetuates harmful stereotypes and discrimination against trans people. These are just a few of the opposite gender markers. The pseudoscience used by this influencer to out cisgender celebs for views implies that there's something wrong or shameful about being transgender and increases stigma and discrimination against the trans community. Being trans is not an insult, and critics of the trans investigator are calling out her trash take and for people to stop making assumptions about celebs' gender identities. Selena has been a
Yeah, guys. Yeah, I see a flashback. Sandra Bullock's first ET interview in 1989. Jessica Alba admits her sexuality made her very uncomfortable. I saw a video clip quoted once where she is asked what is like her biggest secret, and she's like, I'm a man. Yeah, they say 21-year-old Jennifer Anderson is adorable in her first ET interview. Also very masculine jawline. Megan Fox sets the rumors straight. Oh, and then another video in my feed came up on the Mermaids sighting video that's dividing opinion on TikTok. 2.4 million views, ITV. Now, it is a black mermaid, something we have been talking about, right? And it just looks literally like a girl swallowed by a fish. Is this evidence of a fake Britney Spears? Katy Perry goes to viral for mid-concert eye glitch. Evidence shows Hillary Clinton is a robot. File Joan Rivers jokes on Miss Obama is a trans. Everyone is trans. The transvestigators. Megan Fox, I'm a tranny. Victoria's Secret revealed Hollywood gossip. Cannes 2019, we are all transgender, says actress Lena Bloom. So I just typed in the word transvestigation looking for that channel, right? We've heard what that media outlet said. I remember this story about Jazz Jennings. I think when we had it was something different to DSTV. And we could watch it on one of those channels. I think it was TLC or something. So yeah, I don't want to like offend anybody. Because I don't want to hide about this being a spiritual talk or a occult investigation of androgyny and just origins of dichotomy and archetypes in male and female and the merging of all of that and the Venus principle and the gods and the asuras and the flip of it all. That's just my like I've made all these disclaimers that I was confused, I was seduced, I was making okays for things that afterwards I was starting to think like, is it really okay? Am I seeing what they are seeing? Am I not seeing what they are seeing? Questioning what is my truth in all of this. And if my truth offends anybody and gets this channel shut down, I'm not saying anything that you can't investigate for yourself and find a confirmation that people will agree with you to think it is true. So, does that make it through? You guys decide for yourself. I'm going to leave my opinion on the matter open-ended because at Pure Keepers, Lake of Keys, like we need to keep pure everybody's intention, and if they don't know why they were dysmorphic, why they, or why maybe their parents did something to them in the name of like this Hollywood cult agenda that we hear it get swept under, feeding them into that system and then them becoming icons of perpetuating that system to their fans and being part of a world castration agenda. Like, it's like everybody who's marginalized can't find the reason for their position in every story, in every intersection of all these narratives, right? And I think part of like the Punarvasu journey and the 6-2 journey is to be that pyramid eye cut of it. Like I was this whole scheme and then I cut myself off from it and I looked at it and then what was the square and the circle of it all. Um, it's just, to me, it's part of a process of being honest, and honesty is only offensive to ignorance of the truth that is identified within ego. And we see that the lower mind, Pluto, going towards the Neptunian higher mind, there's a lot that needs to go through that formlessness and that Saturn and that Jupiter and that Moon and that Mercury before you get there. And from the other side, it's the Mars, Sun, Venus, Uranus, and form. So, yeah, guys, I'm just asking, like, are we going to regret pushing certain things on children because we got caught up in the emotionality of switched hormones that wasn't even maybe working for your design? And then you thought you could express a personality through it, but it was still, something that maybe it hacked you, maybe the mermaid spirit. Like, I felt within myself that I've wanted to be a girl. I have wanted to have beauty, I've wanted to have feminine energy, or there was a draw to it, right? But at the end of the day, when I recognized the fact that I did incarnate male, that was my choice. And if it's somebody else's choice to incarnate male and transition, that should be their choice just as fairly as I'm recognizing my right to make this choice to the best of my knowing of myself, knowing it is incomplete at this moment. So I'm not saying Mariah Carey has that voice because she was a castrato. I'm not, but what I am saying is that that case could be made if you plotted evidence together in the realms of possibilities, and unless, you know, me personally as the investigator, or it's not like I'm the only person who investigated that particular line of thought as it relates to Hollywood or the magic or the flip that is being done, even knowing that actors and actresses, like there wasn't actresses, it was actors in Shakespearean plays. Um